Hello and welcome to the show. Today we'll take a look back at stage 5 where Cavendish broke the record for 35 stage wins at the Tour de France. We'll also look at today's stage 6, which was another flat stage for the sprinters, and then we'll take a look at tomorrow's stage, the individual time trial. So let's get into it. Yesterday, of course, incredible day, as if the Tour de France hadn't given us enough fireworks already. We saw Mark Cavendish break his and Eddie Merckx's record of 34 stage wins to take 35. The all-time greatest sprinter, and a record that will probably stand for many years to come. There was one other thing yesterday from the sprint that got overshadowed slightly, and that was that Little Trek's Mads Pedersen crashed in the bunch sprint at 70k an hour. Probably what was more incredible was that Zingler was right behind him and showed his cyclocross skills, because at 70k an hour, Zingler pulled off the perfect bunny hop to clear a Mads Pedersen that was laying sideways across the track. An absolutely incredible display of bike handling skills and awareness. Okay, let's move on to today's stage, stage 6. Billed as another one for the sprint teams. It was pretty much flat all the way, but it was open and exposed in many areas, and there was quite a blustery wind today, often from the side, with lots of 90-degree turns through the rural farmlands. Every time the peloton turned, the wind changed from either a headwind, side wind, or a tailwind. They had to adjust in the moment accordingly. No doubt the DS's back in the cars would have been updating them to the wind direction that was upcoming at the next turn and what to do and which side of the road to be on. But of course every team's DS's were telling them that, and that meant with every single turn we saw a fight for position to get on the front. It was a brutal day, and at one stage we saw the peloton split and we saw Tadej Pogačar isolated from his team. He was in the front, his whole team didn't make it and were in the back half. Presumably some of them were on domestic duties. However, he looked quite concerned and was frequently looking around. Now, some people might think, well, what's the problem with him being isolated at the front? He's often at the front when he attacks and he's on his own and he leaves his team. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is on a day like today, where it's compact and compressed and it's changing direction, the wind is changing direction, there's a lot of opportunities for accidents. And if that happens and the bike gets damaged, or even if there's just a puncture or some other mechanical problem, the team car is way back, and without any support riders, there is no way Pogačar can take a bike from somebody. So he'd be stranded at the side of the road, waiting for the entire peloton to pass before either his riders or a team car got to him with a spare bike. That was the main drama. Okay, let's see what else we had today. We saw Cavendish have a mechanical as well. He dropped down a minute behind the peloton. He came back through the cars. The peloton got back together, but it was one of those days that did not settle once. Okay, at 9k to go, Astana got on the front, pulled hard, had Cavendish in the perfect position. All the teams lined up behind or around them. 7.5k to go, there was a crash further down the peloton involving one of the EF riders, Vandenberg. Inside 1k to go, all the teams were fighting over each other and around each other to be on the front. And in that absolute mayhem, Astana got shuffled back, and that was the end of Cav's campaign for Project 36. The project has only been alive for 24 hours. But yeah, that was the end of Cav's campaign today. I'm sure he won't be too upset about that though. So what happened? Well, all the teams that were there at the front really put up a good fight, and it was super close and super complex. And in the overhead shots, we could see that it was between Groenewegen, Philipsen, Biniam, Girmay, and there was also Wout van Aert in the mix. And I'll come on to that bit in a moment. There was a bike throw by Groenewegen at the line that won him the sprint as a photo finish. It was that close between him and Philipsen, but Groenewegen took it. Biniam Girmay was in third place. What we saw on the final run-in though, and this is a question I have to you, and I'd love some interaction down in the comments, because I'm sort of 80-20 on this one, and I'd love to hear you guys' view. Philipsen, I think, repeated exactly what he did last year. Wout van Aert was coming along the barriers, there was space for him, and Philipsen was to his left, they were shoulder to shoulder, and as they both progressed, Philipsen, I think, converged into Wout, and Wout had to back out of his sprint. Who knows what would have happened, but again, I'd like to hear your comments on this. The result stood, there's been no penalties or relegations. Okay, no change on the GC for the top 15, and that brings us on to tomorrow. Tomorrow is a day where I think we could see potentially the GC really get mixed up. It's the individual time trial, and I've been looking at the Strava segment on this. It's 25.2 kilometers long, and it's got 303 meters of elevation. It's got, basically the profile's got a lump in the middle, sort of around about the 10 to 15k, and it's one of those TT courses that I don't think you can ever get into a rhythm on. There's almost no flat on it. It's permanently, well, it's pretty undulating all the way through with the pronounced bump in the middle. It's going to be a very, very fast last 10k on that descent. There's some complications along the way potentially as well. It's going through a very rural area, but there are some small villages and towns it goes through. And some of those, there are roundabouts or 90-degree turns that the riders are going to have to negotiate, whilst obviously at full gas. And I'm thinking, especially on the descent and after that, when they really will be carrying some speed, they're going to have to know when to scrub that speed off to safely make those turns. Who is this course for? Well, this course, I think, is perfect for the top 3 GC guys. I think it's perfect for Remco, perfect for Pogačar, and perfect for Vingergaard. And I'm so excited to see what happens tomorrow. I would imagine this is going to be one that Remco has targeted, but you never know. Pogačar is always full gas and committed. Vingegaard is putting up an incredible campaign this Tour de France after the injuries a couple of months ago, and he seems to be able to hang with Pogačar, no problem at all. There's been a slight confidence issue on fast descents, which is completely understandable, but other than that, I think he's pretty much close to full physical capabilities. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens in tomorrow's time trial and whether there are any gaps or changes on the GC. Wonderful. Well, I'm excited for that. The last 2 stages have been incredible. Today was just action all the way through. Yesterday, obviously, with Cav, amazing. I don't think we could have asked for a better tour so far. I'm sure the organisers are absolutely over the moon with how this has all played out. I think they have done an incredible job with route choices and selection. The organisation of it is always fantastic, so chapeau to them. And yeah, I'm keen to hear what you guys think. Put some comments down below whether you think any of the GC guys are going to win tomorrow, or whether you've got someone else in mind. As always, like and subscribe this channel to support us, share it with your friends, and I look forward to watching the stage tomorrow and speaking tomorrow night with you guys about it. Enjoy the tour. See you then.